And you say such beautiful things in here, though. I've like underlined, you know, it's a small book and it's simple. It's like a children's story. And I thought, you know, someone sent me this book and I didn't think, well, I'll read it. But it really did touch me and really reaffirmed my own vision. I mean, here I've underlined some beautiful passages in this book. And, you know, it's the story of this dolphin. And it says, never forget, when you're just about to give up, when you feel that life has been too hard and you remember who you are, remember your dream. And you keep coming back to remembering your dream. So what was your dream in your life?
The dream in my life was to find the true purpose of my life. You see, basically, probably like you, Alan, you know, we're born in a Western civilization in which there's a pattern that is supposedly the pattern that we should take in order to be, quote, successful in the eyes of the others. But having said that, I'm convinced that we all have a purpose in life, no matter how important or not important. But then I guess it's our obligation or our duty to you know, to be as sincere as we can with ourselves,
Right.
and live our life based on our own principles.
But your purpose was to find your purpose. And what was the purpose that you found that was your purpose? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay. Without, by doing the things that my heart would tell me to do, I life made me a writer.
Amazing.
And now, after sharing my thoughts with so many people, and the only difference between me and the people who read my books is that I put the words in paper and they just read them. The important thing is that we all think the same. Before this, you were saying, I think, something very important, Alan. I've been traveling a lot lately for the last 10 years, and there's a spiritual awakening all over the world.
There is.
It's not religious.
There is.
It's spiritual.
I know.
And again, I remember once I received an email from an Italian lady. She's 85 years old, and she's read like 10 of my books, and I want to ask her, why do you like the book so much? And she said, because you write books for children aged 6 to 100. So I guess as long as we don't lose, you know, that the kid we were at some stage in our life that dreamt that everything was possible.
It is.
We will still be alive.
I mean, I love the book about following your dreams, but then I thought, is it possible to live in a world where everyone follows their dreams? I mean, will there be people?
Why not?
Will there be people picking up garbage and growing food? I guess there's people who love to do that, you know?
Of course.
And
of course. The other day I met a musician that his family made him his life when he was a kid miserable because, you know, they said you're going to starve, you have to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever. And he always said to me the same thing. I prefer to be, you know, a happy poor musician than an unhappy rich professional.
Exactly. No, I'm totally with you on that, and I believe and I live that way. And then, you know, just as I was doubting, this book comes along. This is the voice of the sea talking to me and saying,
you know what happens, Alan, is that I guess in the world is changing, but probably 10 or 20 years ago, people talking about these things were a minority, and the word is spreading in some way. And
well, that is the spiritual revolution that's happening, and more and more people are realizing there's more to the world than just this material.
That's right. All the baby boomers here in the States or in Europe, you know, that they have more than what they need to live the rest of their life. They don't find any purpose anymore in doing the same thing, and they are just retiring at an earlier age and starting to do all these things that they were always putting for the future.
Well, yeah, I mean, the great thing, right, and they've lived an empty, I mean, in my judgment, an empty life, but who knows? You know, some people are happy with that, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, But what you're saying here is if you follow your dream, the inner voice that you are will come alive in you, will start to speak. And that's the spiritual awakening for the planet.
Yes.
I mean, for each individual.
If you start to think about it, the only person you will always live with is with yourself. It's like when people, you know, I love to go to the ocean and just sit there, watch a beautiful sunset, and people sometimes ask me, "Don't you feel alone?" And I say, "Why should I feel alone? I'm with myself." You know, yourself should be your best friend. And and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you've made peace with that. I think, you know, you did. I can see a lot of inner, and just to write this book and actually retrieve the pain of this dolphin's lonely existence, you had to do this inner work.
yes,
And you made peace with the loneliness and when you make peace with the aloneness, you're not alone anymore.
you're not alone anymore.
Yeah.
You put it in the best way you could
Well, let's write a
express
book
it.
together then. No. No, but it's true.
It's
People
true.
have to make peace, and they're always surrounded by their computer, their television. There's so many things that distract us from ourselves. And like you said, that's the best friend we ever have is this divine, eternal spirit.
That's right. That's correct. For example, when I'm diving with whales or dolphins, you know, one of the things I love is the total silence you can sense when you get into the water. And the other thing that occurs automatically is you just forget about the outer world. So the only thing you can hear is yourself.
I know, but and being with a sentient being like a dolphin or a whale, I've looked into the eyes of dolphins. I used to work with John Lilly. I did a film for
Oh,
John.
okay.
You know John Lilly's work?
Yeah.
He tried to teach dolphins how to speak English. Of course, we tried to learn their language. But I looked into the eyes of dolphins, and there is a conscious being like you.
They change your life forever.
They do, they do. I even looked into the eyes of a whale once. I was on
Yeah.
Maui in the beach, and this whale surfaced and looked at me. And just with this ancient wisdom, and
Yes.
they are ancient souls, these whales.
And
And it does change your life.
and in some way they are totally pure.
Yeah. And what John Lilly, I think, discovered is that they actually speak in a holographic language because we admit one sound at a time, but they can make 4 sounds with their sonar and their blowhole and their vocal cords and their nostrils. So they create a holographic language. So they send actually pictures of what they're seeing to another dolphin.
That's right.
It's
That's exactly what they do, yes.
And so I